Did you notice the wall full of posters in Mason's room? He may have already known that Starlight is his sister. In the latest episode, Starlight finally meets her half-brother Mason. But when she enters his room, things suddenly feel awkward. The walls are covered with posters of superheroes: Firecracker, Sage, Shaline, and others. But there's not a single poster of Starlight. Mason explains it by saying that Starlight is a traitor, so he doesn't like her. Yet, a small detail in the room seems to expose him. Almost all the posters are female superheroes, mostly glamorous photos. It shows Mason is clearly fascinated by them. And there's also a bottle of lotion on his desk, suggesting he might stare at those posters the way many teenage boys do. But Starlight is the only one missing. That may mean Mason already knows she is his sister, so he deliberately avoids putting her on the wall. His father's behavior may also have made him suspicious. He rarely mentions Annie or Starlight, and always keeps Mason away from anything about her. But when a name is hidden for too long, it often creates even more curiosity. So Mason may have already figured out the truth. He's just pretending not to know. What do you think? Did you notice Homelander escaped, but didn't fight Soldier Boy? In The Boys, the moment feels strange. After breaking out of the chamber, Homelander doesn't attack Soldier Boy, he just leaves. So what really happened? First, Soldier Boy never meant to kill him there. He could have trapped them both and used his blast, but he didn't. He even said the chamber would only weaken Homelander, not kill him. Second, both were affected by an ability field that interfered with their actions and thinking. Homelander wasn't fully in control. Then comes the key moment. When he escapes, he sees Soldier Boy crying. For someone like Homelander, who craves validation and fears betrayal, this creates confusion. Those tears might not look like anger, they look like disappointment, and that hits differently. Finally, Homelander is already shaken. He just hurt his son Ryan and has been under constant pressure. For the first time, he starts to understand what it means to be a parent, and to fail at it. So instead of fighting, he walks away in silence. Not because he's weak, but because in that moment, he doesn't know what he feels anymore. What do you think? Why is Homelander afraid of enriched uranium, but Soldier Boy isn't? In The Boys, Homelander is trapped in a chamber filled with uranium, and he instantly becomes weak, unable to use his powers. But he was exposed to radiation as a child, so why does this affect him now? First, uranium doesn't just emit radiation, it also causes direct physical damage. Even if Compound V protects Homelander from radiation, it can't fully stop the material itself from harming his body. When his body is busy repairing that damage, his powers stop working properly. That's why he looks injured and can't heal immediately after leaving the chamber. Now compare that to Soldier Boy. He was enhanced with V1, which gave him a powerful immune system. Instead of being damaged, his body can adapt to radiation. Over time, he didn't just survive radiation, he learned to store it and release it as a weapon. That's the key difference. Homelander's body struggles to survive, while Soldier Boy's body evolves. And that's exactly why Homelander fears something that Soldier Boy can control. Do you think this is the key to defeating Homelander? Do you know what the grossest superpowers in The Boys are? First, the worm. He can suck large amounts of dirt into his mouth and expel it from his body to tunnel underground at high speed. But he can't move freely above ground because he loses control of his bodily functions, and every time it turns into a complete mess. Second, Allie. She can control her body hair, making it grow or shrink at will. It sounds strange and disturbing, but it's surprisingly useful. She once used it to save a teammate from being swept away in a sewer. The downside is she has to expose herself every time she uses it, which is extremely embarrassing. Third, Love Sausage. He has a massive, extendable, highly flexible limb that he can control like an extra arm or leg, using it to grab, wrap, and choke enemies. He once used it on Mother's Milk, leaving him with lasting psychological trauma. Fourth, Webman. His web shoots out from above his backside, making it look absurd. absurd. When facing Homelander, he panicked and lost control, spraying webs non-stop, which completely enraged Homelander and got him brutally killed on the spot. Do you know any other disgusting superpowers? Why couldn't Huey realize that the starlight beside him was fake, even in bed, while Homelander exposed Doppelganger instantly? In The Boys, Huey spent days with that starlight and never noticed anything wrong, but Homelander saw through Doppelganger almost immediately. So what's the difference? First, Doppelganger's ability had evolved. She could maintain her form and read memories through touch. That's how she knew the safe code, private jokes, and even intimate habits. To Huey, she felt completely real. Second, Huey was mentally broken. After the Tech Knight dungeon and his father's death, he was at his weakest. When the person he loved stood before him, comforting him, he couldn't question the details. But Homelander is different. He trusts no one, only instinct and control. When Doppelganger became Madeline Stillwell, he didn't feel comfort, only a bad imitation. Finally, the real Starlight's eyes glow brightly when her emotions surge, but the shapeshifter avoided that moment, unable to replicate it perfectly. Huey missed that detail. Homelander didn't. So if it were you, would you be able to tell the difference?